today I'm going to open the July bargain bead box, and I'm also going to show you how to make most of these projects I have in front of me. All of these were made from the July bargain bead box. So, and I do most of this on the video today. This little tiny bangle I'm going to do in a future video, and probably this ring in a future video too, though I have one that's very similar already on my channel. Anyway, let's look at the bead box and stick around and you'll see how I made most of these projects. Hi everyone, it's Gina. I have got the July bargain bead box here, and with all boxes you get your piece of paper here that tells you about your beads, and this month's collection features a summary variety of sand, sea, and shell colors with high quality deep bronze findings. And it tells you about a coupon you get for the sister store, and then a contest you can enter. And on the back you have a shipment identification key, so each bag is numbered and the corresponding numbers are here so that you can see exactly what you've got. And it's bargainbeadbox.com. If you use the code GGC2, you will get $2 off your first order, and it's $17.95 a month, I believe. I am going to go ahead and put all these in order, and then I'll come back and show you what we've got. So I've put them in order, and number one is a 28 by 30 millimeter handmade glazed porcelain scallop shell pendant. This is pretty cool. Look. It's a nice shell on the front, and then it's flat on the back, so it will hang really nice as a pendant. That's pretty. I like that. And it'll make kind of a pretty beachy thing. And I've lost the bag, but there it is. Number two, we're going to go through these quickly so that we can spend our time making stuff. Number two is 70-piece 4 millimeter corrugated spacer beads. So these are the little pumpkin shaped beads. I like these. I always use these in my strung pieces for spacers. You can use them in weaving too, but these are really nice. And then three is a strand of 4 millimeter bicone beads, marine blue iris. So these are pretty. It's about a 16-inch strand. That's nice. And then number four is approximately 8-inch strand of 8 by 6 millimeter crystal rondelle beads, marine blue opal. These are pretty. I like the beads with the half color. I think that's pretty. Those are nice. And then number five is 10 grams of 18 by 13 millimeter starfish and scallop links. So let's see what we got here. Oh, these are cute little links. They have a starfish and a scallop on each one. Let's see. Those are cute. Make a lot of really beachy looking things with this box. And then number six, we've got some, or excuse me. Yeah, did I get off track here? 4, 5, nope. Number six is, well, this must not be number six. Let me see if I can find what I've put in for number five, or number 9. Here we go. Number 6 are bead caps. 4 petal bead cap. And there's 25 pieces of them. Nice bead caps. Those are pretty. And then number 7 is 1 meter of 5.7 by 4.8 millimeter steel Figaro chain, antique bronze. That's nice. Nice long length of chain. And then we've got number 8 is 5-piece 12 by 17 millimeter shell charms. Let's look at these. Well, these are cool. They're heavy too. Nice quality. Both sides are done. That's good. I like that. And then number 9 is the toggle clasps. These are pretty. I always like to get toggles, so I use a lot of toggles. And I like them to match my findings, so it's nice to get some that are the same color. So I'm always searching for the same color that I've used in my pieces. Number 10 is 4-piece 24 by 10 millimeter detailed metal shell beads. These are kind of cool. Flat shells. Those are cool. Nice heavy pieces. 11 is approximately 15-inch strand, 6 millimeter round, mother of pearl shell beads. These are pretty. They don't look too mother of pearly. Let me see. Maybe they do. Yeah, they do. Those are pretty. And then we have number 12, which is 27 by 36 millimeter pewter ammonite pendant. This is pretty. You like fossil looking pieces? That's kind of cool. And then we've got 5 grams of 4 to 10 millimeter mixed steel jump rings, and I always like to get that. That's nice. I'm not going to open those because they're jump rings. And then number 14, 5-piece, approximately 14 millimeter handmade porcelain round beads. These are nice. Nice big beads. Then 15 is 7-inch strand agate round beads, turquoise waves. These are pretty too. Nice. And then number 16 is 2-piece 18 millimeter handmade artesian lampwork lentil beads, tropical waves. Let's get these out. Lampwork beads are always fun. And these are cool. They do have waves in them. Like, that's pretty cool. Okay, so we got 2 of those. Well, fine. Let's get that back in there. 17 is 7-inch strand, 6 millimeter frosted quartz round beads, aqua blue dye. These are pretty. I love this color. It's one of my favorite colors. My whole bedroom is this color. I like it. And number 18 is 20-piece, 8 millimeter natural fossil coral round beads. Number 18. And that's what those look like. Those are nice. They're pretty detailed when you look at them. They're pretty nice natural beads. And then number 20 is 5-piece, 12 by 10 millimeter matte crystal faceted barrel beads. Oh, I like barrel beads, and I like matte, and I like this color, so this is good. Nice. Okay. And then number 19, I know, I got way off track there. I did 20 before I did 19. Oh well, you're still seeing them. So number 20 is 48, or number 19 is 48-piece 3 millimeter crystal faceted cube beads, light peach. And the little tiny cute little cubes. Those are nice too. So that is what is in this month's box, and I will get myself together and see if I can make something. Okay, so the first thing I have designed is this really cute fringy earring. Now, if you don't like really long, bold dangle earrings like this, let's see if I can get it to show you how it looks. It really dangles pretty. It's really quite a pretty piece. But if you do not like a really big, long, dangly earring like this, this can also be a pendant or a focal for your necklace. So you can make a necklace out of this. Make it exactly the same way, except for instead of attaching to this top jump ring here an ear wire, you will just attach a couple more of your jump rings, or run a chain through it, or string something, whatever you want. But this can be a focal for a nice, pretty necklace too. It does not have to be an earring. Or you can make a focal and 2 earrings to match too. The problem is you only have 5 of these, so that kind of stuck me. So I'm just making the earrings out of these. But, you know, you can use different things. You don't have to use what I'm using either. Just use the same concept. Now, what I'm using is one of the shell long tubey type beads here, 2 of the shell charms, and I'm using 4 of the turquoise agate beads, 3 of the mother of pearl beads, 1 corrugated 4mm bead. Then I'm using about a 10mm jump ring and a couple 4mm jump rings. I think those are 4, I'll measure them. It doesn't matter, just as long as they're all the same size from earring to earring. Use what works for you. It's not really that important. Then I'm going to use some of the Figaro chain, and I've cut them in specific ways. I've cut 4 pieces, and what we have here, let me get real close on them for you, is I've cut my first piece with 8 large links. Get closer. Oops, that's not closer. So I've cut my first one with 8 large links, so I just counted my 8 links. And then, of course, there's a small link in between each one. But you just want to count your 8 large ones. Make sure there's a small link on one end, and then you end with a large link on the other end. And then you're going to do the same thing with 6 large links. A small link on this end, large link on this end. And then you're going to cut one with 4 large links, with a small link on one end and the large link on the other, starting and finishing them that way. And then one with 2 large links, small link on one end, large link on the other. So you'll cut 4 segments of chain specifically this way, and then I have also added some jump rings to the, or not jump rings, excuse me, some head pins to the mix. Now, I didn't have any of this color, so I'm using a bright gold color, which seems to blend okay. It seems okay. So these have little balls on the end. You do not have to have them with balls. It can be any head pin that you would like to use. And then an ear wire, of course. So I've added that from my own stuff. So the only thing that I'm not using that's in the box are the head pins and the ear wires. Then we're going to go ahead and add to the mix some 8-pound Fireline, a size 10 beading needle. And you're going to thread onto your size 10 beading needle about an arm and a half of length of Fireline. So stretch one arm out to your side, measure from your fingertips to about the length of your arm to about the middle of your chest. It should be more than enough thread. And put that on your needle. We're going to combine a couple of methods of beading here to make these. So go ahead and thread your needle and set it aside. And then let's go ahead and grab a couple of our beads. We need to prepare our beads first. So I'm going to prepare one of my large ones with a head pin. I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to, my fingers are black from Fireline. I'm not dirty, guys, I promise. And I'm going to slide this bead through. Now, I've tried to pick some beads that look similar to the ones I did on my other earring, but they're gemstones. They're not going to match perfectly, so don't worry about that too much. Slide your bead down, and then bend the head pin over the top of the bead. Now, this is a long head pin, but they're the only ones I had that I wanted to use, so I'm going to cut them down. So I've just bent it over, and then I'm going to cut about 1/4 of an inch length of wire. So this is what I have. And then I am going to grab my round nose pliers at the very end of my wire that I cut, and I'm just going to judge how big I want my circle to be. So I'm going just a little ways down the pliers, and then I'm just going to roll my wrist around and make a curve like this, then reposition with my pliers and roll it the rest of the way. And now I have a nice little link that I can open and close on top of this bead. You're going to put all 4 of your beads on this way, and also all 3 of these beads on the same way. So go ahead and prepare all your beads with your head pins, and we'll be back. Okay, so now I have made all of my little links on all of my beads. I'm going to set aside these 3 and I'm going to use these 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of my beads. I'm going to open the bead, the link here. I'm just going to twist it out like this. Do not pull it out, just twist it up. Slide it on the big link on your longest piece of chain, or whichever piece of chain, doesn't matter. We're going to put all of these on the end of our chains on the big link. So we cut a small link and then we end it on the big link. You're going to put them all on the end with the big link. So I have just slid that on, closed my little link. Make sure you close it well. All you have to do is just kind of wiggle it back and forth until you get it nice and tight, like this. And then if you bend it up a little bit, you can straighten it up with your flat nose or chain nose pliers. And then just set it aside like this. And then put on all of the other pieces, the other 3 pieces, put a bead on the end of each one of those on the large link. And once you have done that, and this is what you should have now. Now let's just set these aside and grab your big shell bead here and a corrugated 4mm bead and a large jump ring. Make sure your jump ring is shut tightly. If it is not, just grab a hold of it and just kind of shimmy it back and forth until it's really nicely closed. And then you want to keep the opening up towards the top here so that as we put our threads through, they don't get caught there or fall through. It should be closed tight enough to where that doesn't happen, but we still want to keep it towards the top of the ring here. Then grab your needle that you should have already put a length of fireline. I have 8-pound smoke fireline on mine, and it is an arm's length and a half of thread. And then you are going to take your needle with your thread and pass through your jump ring, making sure that the opening is at the top, like I said before. And then just bring it to the end of your thread like this and tie a knot onto the jump ring. Of course, while we do this, the jump ring is going to spin around and you might get close to your opening. We'll just move it after we tie our knot. So tie a knot on here. And then tie another one. And this is what you should have. I'm going to cut this down a little bit over here because it's just going to get in my way. Pull it tight, make sure it's on there fairly tightly. And then we are going to, back off just a little bit, we are then going to make sure that our knot is at the bottom of the jump ring, the opening is towards the top, and grab your corrugated bead here and put it on your thread and bring it down to the jump ring. And then grab your shell bead. Now you can see there's kind of an opening up here. You want to have that opening towards you and then go through the bead. That way the corrugated bead will kind of fall down into that opening, just like that. And get you a little closer so you can see, like this. Now it's not going to be real tight for a minute, and that's okay. We don't need it to be real tight. Then grab your longest strand that you put your bead on, like this, and go through the little end that we left on this on the chain. You'll have a little link at the end. You'll grab that, go through it, pull it down to the bead like this, and then sew back up through the big bead, through the corrugated bead, and through the jump ring like this. Let's see if I can get it so you can see. Then I'm just going to pull this all through. Make sure your thread doesn't tangle in your chain and just drag that chain up to the bottom of the bead like this. And then we are going to go back through. So you're through the jump ring, go back around the jump ring into the corrugated bead, into the big bead, and push your needle all the way through. Move your chain aside on the bottom here and poke your needle through. Now see, your thread will get all messed up with this is open a little bit, so let's close that. And then just pull your thread through. Now straighten everything up. Let me back up just a little more so you can see what I'm doing. And now you can see that I've gone around all of my jump ring, back into my corrugated bead and back into the big bead. And I'm coming out and I'm just going to move that chain aside and I'm going to grab my next long length, go through the tiny link we left on this end of our chain and go through it, bring it up so that nothing gets tangled, and then go back up through the big bead and the corrugated bead and then into the jump ring, just like this. And pull your thread through. Watch your thread as you do this so it doesn't get tangled in your chain, and then just go back around your jump ring, back into the corrugated bead, back into the big bead, push your chain aside, and then just come through the bead without going through any of your chain, just like this, and pull your needle through. And then do that with your other two lengths of chain too. So get your next long one, go through it, come back through, and then get your little one and do that too, and we'll be back. Okay, so I've put my last little dangles on, and let me get you closer. I am just coming out of the corrugated bead. After putting the last one on, I'm going to go through the jump ring, and then I'm going to go through the corrugated bead and just the corrugated bead and pull my needle through or push my needle through like this. And then I am going to go between this bead and the corrugated bead. I'm just going to kind of bring my thread behind it like this and guide it to where my thread will run between the two beads. Let me get you a little closer. And then I have a loop here, so I'm going to go up through the loop. I'm going to pull a knot down between those two beads, and then I'm going to do that again. So just go behind the corrugated bead, pick up your needle. That was a little clumsy, like this. Just making a loop. It takes a little bit of coordination, which I don't seem to have, like this. Once I have a loop, then I can come up through, tie a knot, and then I'm going to go down into my big bead. And I'm going to exit the bottom without going through any of my chain, just like this. Pull that tight, make sure everything is nice and tight, and then you can cut this thread off, leaving a little bit of length so that you can burn it down and create a knot. So I'm going to just cut it about here. And then I'm going to grab my lighter. You can use a thread burner, whatever you have. And then I'm just going to put it close to the heat and let it roll up until it is at the bottom of the bead there. Oops, my little bead fell off. Let me put that back on. I guess I didn't close that link well enough. Let me put that back on my little chain here. And make sure you close those tight, or that's what will happen. Okay. Now, I have this little thread up here. I'm going to cut a little bit shorter and burn it down also. Now make sure you don't light this on fire. You don't want to burn any of your other threads. You just want that to melt down in just like that. And then this is what you should have. Now, you're going to straighten out all of these links. So I'm going to put them out like this so I can see exactly what I've got. And I will add my other little beads on these chains. Now, since I already made an earring, and I'm going to put these on too. So since I already made an earring, I will straighten this one out also. And your first one doesn't really matter, but on your second one, you have to make them kind of match. So I'll just get it to where it's straightened out eventually, so I can see what I put where. That one there, that one there. Yeah, this takes a minute, guys. So there's my short one. There's my next one. I know you can't really see what I'm doing anyway, so let me see. And so I've got it straightened out to where I can see which is on, what is on each chain and what link it's on, so that I can make this earring match this one. So on this one, I have this little link. No. So I grab a jump ring and I'm going to put it on this one. So you can see on this one, I have, get this into the picture, I have put a jump ring on my charm, and then I put it on this link right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of my smaller jump rings. I'm going to open it, and I'm going to slide it on here. That one's kind of open. I'll have to fix that. And then I am going to put this on the same link I put it on my other piece. So I'm just going to slide this on this link right here. And I will grab, well, I've only got my round nose. No, there's some chain nose. And I will just close this like that. So now I've got that one. And then on my next strand, on this strand, from the second bead right here, let's see, that's 1, 2, yep. On the second one, I put a little one. So I'm going to just open this little guy and slide it on that second link. And then close it. So I'm just twisting them closed. And then I'll have to lay it all out, arrange it again. Because you always get them messed up. So I'll just arrange it again like this. And then I can look at my piece over here and see what I did on the next one. And I will go ahead and put a small bead on this one, on the third link here. And then I will open a jump ring and put this one where this one goes, so like this. And then this one is like right here. I'll put those on just like I just showed you, and we'll be back. Okay, now you can see I have finished putting my little beads on. And now I'm just going to open my ear wire from side to side, just like we've been doing with our other links. Just find what side opens, open it up, and slide it on. And then close it. And now I have a slinky pair of earrings here. Nice long dangles. And like I said, you could use this also for a necklace. And I may make another one and make a necklace out of it. I just don't have enough of these to make it match perfectly. I have one left over, so I could just make my pendant fuller and different and maybe put some other charms on it or some other beads on it or whatever. But because I only had 5 of these, this is kind of the way that I've ended up with just a couple earrings. So, or you could make this a pendant and you could put more strands and make it fuller. You could make it longer. You can make whatever you want out of this particular style. You don't have to do it like I did. It doesn't matter where you put your beads. all it matters is that you use the same basic concept and you'll come out with something really pretty. So that is the first project I've made. Okay, so I have an idea to make another piece. We're going to see how it works. Now, I'm going to be using 11-0 seed beads. This little pile of beads has all kinds of stuff in it, but mostly 11-0s. And they're galvanized gold tone. They're the Starlight permanent finish in the Toho line. So some 11-0s. And then I've got the frosted blue beads. And there's not that many of them, so we're not going to make a lot of this, but I'm hoping it'll be a front of a necklace or a bracelet or something as I get going here. And then we're going to use some of the little shellfish star links that were in the box. And we're just going to make a little design with bead weaving. So what you're going to do is you're going to put about a wingspan on your needle of Fireline. I'm using the Smoke Color 8-pound. And then I'm going to pick up 4 of my 6mm round frosted blue beads with an 11-0 in between. So there will be 4 of each beads, 4 6mm round and 4 11-0s alternating on my needle here. Oh, come on. So this is what you will have. Bring them down on your thread. You will have 4 6mm rounds. Start with a 6mm round, end with an 11-0, and alternate them. 4 of each type of bead. And then we're going to bring it to the end of our thread here. And it's a pretty long piece of thread, so just bring it all the way down. Leave yourself 6 to 8 inches, maybe even a little longer, just to do something on the end here. I'm going to leave, about 6. And then I'm going to, because I can always extend my Fireline too, so it's up to you. And then I am going to go back through the first bead I put on my thread. So this is my working thread. I'm crisscrossing my working thread with my tail like this and going through the first bead on the tail side and the 11-0 in the second bead also, just so that I can pull these into a circle like this. And then also back through them to secure them. And just go through all of them. And just be patient because it takes a minute. And now I've through all of them, but I need to come back around and come out this bead right here. So I'm going to go ahead and go through again until I come through that bead. So what will happen is my thread will be coming out opposite where my tail is. So this is my tail. I'm going to go up through this bead and this one, and I'll show you what I have so that it makes more sense. This is what I have. Now I've just sewn around till I'm exiting this bead here, the 11-0. And then I'm going to pick up 10 11-0 seed beads onto my needle. Like this. And I'll bring them down and I'll double count them, make sure I have 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yes. So I'll just bring those together, and then I'm going to pick up another one of my series of my bigger beads, but this time all I have to do is have 3 11-0s. So I'm going to start with an 8-0, and then I'm going to pick up an 11-0 and an 8 and a 6mm round, and then an 11-0 and a 6mm round, and then an 11-0 and a 6mm round. So I'll have 4 6mm rounds and 3 11-0s on my thread, just like this. Then I'm going to bring it down to the 10 11-0s that I put on. And I am going to come back through the 10th 11-0 seed bead from this side. So I'll be coming in this way. and then I'll just go through the 6mm round and the 11/0 behind it and pull these into a circle like this. Now I'm going to sew all the way back around till I come back out this bead, just to secure everything. And when you get back to the 10th bead here that we have between our beads, you have to go through it too, and then through the 6mm behind it like this, and then go up through this 11/0 seed bead, and then again you will pick up 10 11/0 seed beads and do the exact same thing that you did for this unit. So you pick up your 10, and then you pick up your 4 beads with your 4 round beads with your 3 11/0s in between, and make another unit. Now if you need to back up a little bit to watch it, go ahead, but it's a pretty simple concept. We're going to continue doing that until we run out of these blue beads, and I'll come back and show you how many units I have. So you'll just have units with a chain of 11/0s in between. So this is what you should have. Now this turns out really cute. You could keep going if you don't have the links and you have some 6mm beads. You could just keep on going and make a necklace like this and put a little clasping on the end, and that would be really cute. And I'm also probably going to do one, since I started this, I think I'll do a real easy necklace on the beginner's channel using the same concept. But what we're going to do is, you should have, with the beads that you had, you should be able to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. Now once you've made your 7 units, then secure your last one and then come up through your 11/0 seed bead right here and cut a piece of chain so that you have 5 large links on it, and then you have your small links. You'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 small links, and you want to have a small link on either side. So let me get you close so you can see what I'm talking about. You want to have it to where you've cut it, where you have your small link on either side, and then 5 links of your large links, just like this. And then we're going to pick up a small link, just like this, and drop it down to the bead that we're coming out of here. And then we're going to sew through the big bead. So you're coming out of this 11/0, you're going through the chain, you're going directly into the big bead, just like this. And then you're going to bring this one over, go through the small link, so you're going to have to come underneath like this, go through the small link, you're coming out of the large bead, and then go into this 11/0 right here, and then go through all your beads. We're going to sew back around here. So basically all we've done is add a loop of chain around this last bead, just like this. We have an uneven number so that we can attach this to another length of chain. So go ahead and sew until you come all the way back through all your chain and everything, so you secure it. So I'm coming through all of these beads, and I'll show you what everything looks like, since I kind of made that confusing. So now I'm going through this 11/0. I'm going to go through my chain link again, make sure I go through it, and then into my big bead, and then through that small link again on this side like this, and then through this bead, and I want to sew until I come out of the 11/0 on the other side of this bead here. So this is where you should be, right here. And this will lay out really cool, like that. But right now we need to do the bottom of our necklace, and I think I've devised a way to put these links in between, so we have our seashell up like this and the starfish down towards the bottom. We're coming out of this bead right here. We're going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads onto our needle like this, and then we're going to come up through the bottom of the link on the link like this. So come up through the bottom of that little loop there and pull this towards your piece, and then pick up, actually no, then go through the first 11-0 that you put on. So you're coming through the link, you're going to go around the link into the first 11-0 seed bead right here, just like this, and then we're going to pull this through. Now try not to tangle your thread on anything and pull that up tight like that, and then pick up an 11-0 seed bead. And then go into this 11-0 right here between the beads. You're going to go into it from the right side here, like this, and pull your thread through. Just like that. And then we have to sew up and over so we can attach this one. So what we're going to do now is we've got this one attached. We're going to go up into this bead here. Right there. And then we're going to go into the 9th bead. So the 10th bead on our little strand of 11-0s in between here. The 10th one is between the beads. You're going to go into the 9th one, right in front of that 10th one that's between the beads. And then you're going to go all the way through all of them and exit, or actually you can just go through all of them because we have to sew around anyway. So go through all of them. And pull it so there's no slack here. Straighten it out, and then we're going to sew down into this bead here. So now we're coming out of this big blue bead. We have to go into this 11-0 here, and down through, until we come out of the 11-0 here. So let me show you. I'll straighten it out so you can see where I'm at. Let me straighten out my thread here. So you should be coming out of this bead right here. Straighten this up. Sewing through this 9th bead here, you're going to have to make sure that's tight but straightened up. I may have to rethink that. No, I think it'll be okay. As long as we keep our tension correct, it should be okay. You don't want it to bunch, but you don't want any separation right here either. And now we're going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads. We're coming out of this seed bead right here. We're going to go up underneath the link. So we're going to go into the loop on the link from the bottom side. Pull this up. Try not to tangle your thread. Pull it up like this, and then go back into, so you're coming through the link, go back into this first 11-0 seed bead right here and pull it through. Pull this up somewhat tight, and then pick up another 11-0. Now you're connected to this side over here, so you have to come this way into this one between the beads, and you can go into the blue bead behind it so that it forms a little tiny right angle weave connection like this. Now I hope I was in camera. We'll do one more together to make sure that you understand exactly how to link that. And we want to straighten it out so everything looks good. And then we're going to go into the 10th bead here on this side, the one between the beads. And then go into this one on this side. So you're going 11-0, blue bead, 11-0. And then down into the blue bead on this side. and then down into the 11-0. Can't get my hand to work that way, sorry. Into this 11-0 right here. All right. Now we have to put another of our link on. So what we're going to do is we are going to pick up, see, if you were just sewing through and you were putting on just maybe an embellishment down here, you could just continue sew through. But since we have two separate links, we have to sew up through and do all kinds of fancy stuff to get around it. So now we're going to pick up two 11-0 seed beads onto our needle, get another link, lay it out in the correct direction like this, go underneath it into the loop, and bring it down to the piece like this. Now, I want to try to get close, but try to stay in camera here. Now I'm going into the first 11-0 seed bead that I put on right here. And I'll just pull that thread through and bring the link up to the 11-0s like this. Now you can see I'm connected on this side. I need to connect up to this side on this bead between the blue beads. So I'm going to pick up an 11-0, and then I'll go through this side of the 11-0. I'm trying to do this left-handed, and there's a little gnat. Get out of here, gnat. Summertime, she's great. There, okay. This is my left hand, and it's worthless. All right. So I've come through just like this, and now I need to sew back up through all these beads. So I'll go up through this one here. And then through the 11-0 between them. And through this 11-0 and the next blue bead. And then I will go through all of these beads here. Go through this 11-0 right here. And then I will sew through all of these beads and come through the next blue bead right here. Then I will sew all the way down to this one. And I'll just keep sewing around my beads and attaching my links between with right angle weave. So go through this one, and then this one, and then go through here until I get to this bead right here. Okay, I'm coming through this 11-0 seed bead, so now I'll pick up my two 11-0s, and then I'll go through the bottom of this link here. Line it all up. Go back through the first 11-0. So you're through the link, go through the first 11-0. Now pick up an 11-0. Now I'm attached coming out of this side of the 11-0, so I have to go into the opposite side that I'm attached to. So I'll go into this 11-0 here and up through the 6mm round. And now I have my nice little link made, and I can sew all the way around. So I'll sew into this one and then this one and down into the next bead here. Come on, you. There we go. And I will go ahead and attach my next link like this, the same way we've been doing it, and sew through until you get to the very last one here, right here, and then we'll sew up through here, and we'll put our chain on this side. So it looks like I'm running out of thread. I may run out before I'm done, so we may need to extend fire line. If you need to do that, check out the link. I'll put a link in the description box beneath the video player to extend your fire line if you do not know how to do that, or just start with a longer thread than I did. So you can do that. You can start with maybe a wingspan and a half and see how that works. So go ahead and continue, and we'll be back. And here is what my piece looks like now. I have finished it, and my working thread is coming out of this top blue bead right here. I am not going to need this tail thread like I thought I would, so I'm just going to cut it off. And then I have gone ahead and cut my 5 links of chain with the 2 little links on the outside for this side. So I'm going to go through this 11/0 seed bead right here and connect my chain just like I did on the other side. So I'll go through the little link here and drop it down, go through the blue bead here, and then go through this last link on my chain, the little one, and then go through the 11/0 seed bead here, just like I did on the other side, and pull this down, and then I'll sew around my entire unit and secure that and also tie off. So sew here through this 11/0 here, then I'll go through this 11/0 here and the chain, go through it, make sure I get my thread through that. And then this blue bead, and then the chain, and then this 11/0, and then right here, and in between this 11/0 and the blue bead, I am just going to grab that thread bridge, bring my needle underneath, make a circle. Well, I could have done that a little bit better, but there we go. Make a circle, go through it, and make sure that I tie a knot down between the beads, like so. And then I'm just going to sew back up through a couple beads, just to make sure that's pretty secure. And right here, I'll come through and cut my thread, and then burn it down. Make sure that you just put the heat close to it, don't light it on fire. Roll that down, and then get this all arranged. This is what I have, and I will connect some chain. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Let me back off so you can see it. So now I have these two, this most middle piece of chain here. I can go ahead and take a couple of my jump rings, and I can just add some more chain. Let's see if I want to make it double or what I want to do. So I'm going to grab a couple jump rings. I think I'll go about that size. So you can go for 6mm size here. I think, yeah, I think I'd rather go 4. Let's see if I can find a couple of these smaller ones. So I'm going to use these small ones, and I'm just going to open them. Let me put these away because I will just make a mess if I don't. So I can open these, and attach them to that most middle piece of chain, which will pull it up kind of in a diamond shape like this. And then I can attach more chain. So I'm just going to close this for now. And it is prepared, and I'm going to cut myself a piece of chain. Might need just one length. Let me see. Yeah, I could use just one length. So I'm going to measure how much chain I want, cut it, and then we'll be back. We'll attach it, and we will attach a clasp, and that will be a necklace. Now, this is also very cute like this on your wrist. It hangs, let me see if I can get it right. It hangs like this. So this makes a perfect size bracelet too. So instead of putting your chain on the end, you could just come through this last bead and put on a clasp. You could do that instead of doing what I'm doing and make a bracelet. So that would work just fine, or even an anklet. It would be really cute. These that hang down toward your foot, that would be cute. So let me go ahead and prepare my chain and put it together, and we will see what the necklace looks like. Okay, so I have cut 2 5-inch pieces of chain, and I've made sure that I've ended on 2 little links. Now it doesn't matter if you end on a little link or a big link, just make sure that it's the same on both sides of your necklace. And what I'm going to do, I've also got out a toggle that came with the box and a little bit bigger jump ring than this one here. So this is like a 4mm and this is like a 6mm round. And I will attach my clasp with the bigger one because this is kind of thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the jump ring I put on this side. Find where it opens here. Oops. Yeah, I was messing it up. There we go. And just slide on this little link on the end here. See if my jump ring will go through that little link. I may have to end it on a big link. Nope, it'll go through. And then I'll close this. And this is what I have. I've closed my jump ring. Make sure I closed it tight. My eyes don't see those little openings and closings very well. And then I'll go to this end, and I will open this jump ring and slide it on this last link here. And then slide it on, and let's see, let's use this end. Slide this on, close it. Jump ring isn't closing very well. There we go. Got it closed. And now I have one end of my necklace done. So what I will do now is this end exactly the same way, and then I'll be right back. And here's what the end result looks like. Turned out really cute. Let's see if I can think of a couple more things. If not, we'll end the video here, but I think I might be able to think of a couple more things to make. I may not show you exactly step by step how to make them, but I may just make a few more things just to give you some ideas. Okay, I've decided that I'm going to make another quick piece. I think I'm going to lay it out like this. I've cut a piece of 7 beadalon. I'd like to use a thicker beading wire, but this is the only one I have in the color that'll work with these bronzies and stuff. So I'm using 7 beadalon. I've cut it probably a couple feet long, and I am going to just go through this pendant here and center it on my piece of wire. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way and get myself more centered on my beading mat. And all I've done is gone through the wire. I'm putting the 2 ends together, making sure that it's somewhat centered. It's going to move around, but it's somewhat centered on my piece of beading wire. And then I'm going to pick up a couple of 11-0 seed beads on either side. So I'm going to pick up 3 on this side and then 3 on this side of the wire. Like this, and just drop it down. And then I'm going to pick up a bead cap, and I'm going to go through both, put both of my threads through the bead cap, straight up through the bottom here. Well, maybe. And bring this down. Let's see if those 11 O's are going to work right. Let's see. No, there's not quite enough. So I'm going to have to put maybe 4 on each side here. I actually think maybe 8 O's. Well, let's see. Let's just put another on each side here. I've got to cut this wire. It's bent and I can't pick up my beads. So okay, now I'm going to put both of these wires together, and then I'm going to bring down a bead cap, maybe like this. Yeah, that looks better. And then I'm going to grab one of these barrel beads that came in the box, and I'm going to slide it down. Like this. Then I've got a nice start to my necklace there. Then I am going to make sure it's still pretty centered. And then I think I'm going to use maybe some of the coral beads, the brown coral beads that came too. It might be kind of pretty. I don't know. We're going to find out. At first, we're going to drag another bead cap down on this barrel bead here. So let's string another bead cap on both strings. Like this. If you have a very small crimp bead, you may want to crimp that just to keep it in place. I think I'm just going to try to do this without crimping it. So I'm going to pick up like 3 11-0 seed beads on each side now. Drop this down, and then on this side, drop that down. Then I am going to pick up a coral bead and put it on either side. Like that. And then probably 3 more 11-0 seed beads. And I'm just going to continue beading this until I get a necklace that I can clasp. But first, let's see if we can at least pick up 3 11-0s. Geez Louise, there we go. And then I'm going to pick up a bead cap on my wire. And then a barrel. And I'll do the same thing on the other side, and I'll continue, and I'll come back and show you exactly how I designed this. Okay, so I have strung everything the way I wanted to string it, and I've clasped one side, and I'll show you how to do that on the other side. You have to make sure when you do this side that it's very tight so everything stays together nicely. All I did was the barrel beads and some of the coral beads, and then I put a couple bead caps around the coral beads back here, and then I did the corrugated beads, the 4mm round, with 3 seed beads in between, 3 11-ohs in between each side. And then I crimped it off with a size 1 gold colored crimp tube and used the clasp in the box. So all I've added to this were 11-oh seed beads and some size 1 crimp beads and some 7 bead-along beading string. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop my, well actually on this end I want to pick up 3 more 11-oh seed beads. I want to end on 3 11-ohs like I did on the other side, like this. And so you just string one side exactly like you did the other so that it's very symmetrical. And then you pick up your size 1. This is what I'm using, bead-along size 1 gold round bead tubes or crimp tubes. And now I am going to put my beading wire through the clasp, and then I'm going to go around, pull very tightly on my wire so everything's nice and tight, and I am going to go through the crimp bead or the crimp tube and the 3 11-oh seed beads and the corrugated bead right here. Now, normally I would say leave a little bit of breathing room between the beads, but because of the way I did this centerpiece, if you do not have both sides very tight when you crimp it, it's not going to stay together right. So you need to make sure that both sides are really tight before you crimp it. So I've put it through. I want a little bit of room here so that my clasp can move, but I don't want any slack anywhere else. And then I'm going to grab this crimp tube and I'm just going to use my straight nose pliers and I'm just going to crimp that down like that. Because it's a round crimp tube, it comes out pretty nice when you crimp it. And it's a size 1 that I'm using because I'm using such small beading wire. If I were using a bigger beading wire, I would use a size 2. Now I'm just going to cut that off. And let's see if it's symmetrical. If I messed up. No, it's symmetrical. Okay, so let me show you what this looks like. And that's what that one looks like. And that would also look cute with these. So anyway, that's another necklace. Okay, so I made a few more things. I made this little ring. I have a tutorial. This is a little bit different than the one on my tutorial, but I just went straight around and wrapped rather than doing it sideways like I showed in the tutorial. But I do have a tutorial on my channel to make a basic little ring like this. So I used one of the rondelles in this one, and I used 20 gauge wire and one of the turquoise agate in this one. And then I just made some simple earrings on some head pins with these lampwork beads. And I went ahead and used the shell and made a necklace out of the shell. I used leftover beads, shell beads, these metal ones that I had left over, and the big porcelain beads and some of the mother of pearl. I added my own picture jasper to this and just made your basic strung necklace with a clasping end here. And then I made this little tiny bangle, which I'll do a tutorial on this channel for. It's a really delicate little tiny bangle, and I'll show you how to make that in another tutorial. This one's getting really long. But I tried to use pretty much everything that was in the box. I still have some stuff I didn't use, the little tiny cubes and a few things like that. But I tried to use something of all of it so that you guys could see that you can just make a whole bunch of stuff in one box. This is from one box that I made all this stuff, and I still have stuff left over. So anyway, that's what I made. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.